Well, okay. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. Brent Abel here. That's Jeff Jacklich with a big bottle of water there. And you're actually quite fortunate. I didn't start the recording earlier because we were just bashing the tennis industry online over at YouTube. And it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy over there. So let's not get into it. I don't want to trigger it again because once we trigger that stuff, it is Katie bar the doors, which is not possible once we get going.
So I'd have to move from cool and refreshing water to something a little more potent.
Yeah, well, and then there would be no stopping. So, guys, listen.
Then there's no muzzle on the dog.
That's true. Oh, God. Listen, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today, Gold Ball Hunting. This is another episode of our daily podcast. We are over at YouTube, and we're stripping out the audio of all of these daily podcasts, which we're uploading to iTunes and Stitcher, other audio formats as well. We've got a topic today that near and dear to me in both singles and doubles. That once I discovered how to deal with this situation, my life as a tennis player completely changed. Before we get into it, I want to mention Jeff and I are still offering a free 10-minute private coaching call. The three of us, we get in the telephone conference call. I think I just mentioned that. But we want you to bring the number one thing in your game right now that you feel is holding you back from getting the result you want, whether it's singles and or doubles. Because typically what happens is you might come up with a laundry list. Oh, I got to work on this, this, and this. But there's probably one thing that if you can solve that, it's the big domino that knocks down all the other little things. So we want to help put you on that path to kind of discover that big domino and then get you going towards that result you want. The way to get on that free coaching call, go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in your first name, email address, and then click the button, and you'll get immediate access to our online calendar scheduler where you get to cherry pick the date and time that works best for you. Jeffrey, 25 words or left with 25 words or left. 25 words, or maybe it's a little bit too much of the coffee here. 25 words or less. What's going on over there at the Western Lawn Tennis Club?
Well, yesterday was extremely hot and high humidity, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But unfortunately, Friday night we had a thunderhead come through. So even though it was sunny all day yesterday, there was no grass court play because it was just saturated from the night before. But we did have some members come out and just enjoy the club and a little dip in the pool, and
good.
Few played out on the hard courts for about a half an hour, and then came in and quickly got a beer.
They were probably soaking wet with that humidity after. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So and we got a little rain this morning, so. Midwest.
Hang in there.
What are you going to do?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, look, I want to chat about something that I can't remember. Well, you know what? I can't remember exactly when it happened. I mean, I can't remember the exact date, but I remember where it happened, and it was when I was working with Mr. Stowe, and I was in the group with Doug King and Steve Stefanski and John Hubble, all top guys, and I was not, right? I was the kind of way out there, the low rung. Maybe I was in the top 450 of NorCal. They were in the top 5. Anyway.
Top 450.
Yeah, it's probably around 450. Somewhere. I don't think they even had the rankings go that low. But I was somewhere down there, and I just begged my way into that group at some point, only because they were friends of mine and Mr. Stowe. I lied to him, telling him that I really wanted to become a player. He said, well, look, if you want to just come up here to hang out with these guys and learn how to teach, that ain't going to happen. So I said, no, I want to learn how to play, which is true. I want to learn how to play. But I think one of the big challenges is, first of all, we've got a phrase in tennis that just conjures up the wrong image. And once you change the phrasing, I think your life, at least for me, my life changed in terms of singles player and doubles player. And that is the phrase "no man's land," and
Yeah.
so most players, I think, Jeff, believe that no man's land means I got to get my ass out of there. If anytime I get in there, I got to get through there. Meaning, literally, serve and volley, no matter how short the return is,
Right.
in singles or doubles. And
Right.
so, really, I think we ought to be calling that area the serve and transition, or the approach and transition, or the
Right.
return to serve and transition, because realistically, especially as senior players, we're not going from behind the baseline all the way inside the service line without potentially touching a ball. So,
Right. That
for
it's a huge distance to cover as we age up.
yeah. So, I mean, for you, Jeff, did you always? I mean, did you ever consider no man's land? Did that thought ever conjure up? Oh boy, better get out of here. Even if the point started, because I know for me in doubles especially, there are times when it's just the right situation to play a few shots from inside that area. Because if you try to retreat, that's bad, or if you try to advance,
Right.
now you're going to be in potential trouble. So, what about for you in your game, either singles or doubles, where you kind of came to that realization that, man, I got to play some shots within this area, so
Right.
let's just make it okay.
I think the biggest maybe like blind spot in no man's land. Put that in heavy quotes. No man's land is 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 that you can't be there, or you got to hurry up and get out of there, or I don't know, like you were saying, all this stuff. But here's the reality: is you're going to have to play a lot of balls in that area. More than likely, though, you're not going to play 2 or 3 balls from that area in a row. The likelihood of that is, and the likelihood of you actually winning the point from that geometry on the court, from that geography on the court, is really low. But you have to hit a lot of balls from that space. If I crank a high ball, high roller out to the guy deep in the backhand, and I can see he's going for the high slice, and I don't do a full-on sneak attack, but I can see he kind of floats it back, and it's landing 3 feet beyond the service line, well, guess where I'm hitting my next big forehand from? No man's land. And I am happy to do it.
That's right.
In fact, I am overjoyed that I'm standing in no man's land with a big, fat, juicy forehand on my racket.
Yeah, right.
So I think the misunderstanding is that you're not supposed to play anything from there. No. The idea is that you're not going to play the whole point from there. And the challenge is, I think, and this is at the lower levels of the game, in the 3-0, 3-5, 4-0 section, you do have a lot of players that get away with playing from that area. And that's not their fault. That's the opponent's fault for letting them do it.
That's right. That's right.
So that's a discussion I have with those guys and gals on teams in that rating, is that you keep letting them kind of hang out on their lily pad 4 feet inside the baseline. You're the one letting them do it. So hit a short ball, intentionally get them out of that space, and make them do something else.
Right.
Make them come forward, and then make them go back. And now you've opened up the back end of the court to do something with. So not to go off on a tangent there, but really, I think the biggest thing is that no, you have to hit a lot of balls from no man's land. We're just not going to play the whole point from there.
Yeah. Well, look, and I think the other thing is with serve and volley is serve and volley is another misunderstood term, because when I learned it from Mr. Stowe is I thought it was literally serve and volley. I thought literally I had after my serve, whatever came back, I had to volley it. And too often, especially with these guys who I was working with, were so good, they could take my serve, knock it down just before my feet, right? So that now, for me, with
Right.
the understanding I got a volley, now I'm lunging forward, reaching forward. I'm completely off balance. There's stroke technique is now gone. I mean, Mr. Stowe didn't teach me how to hit a volley being completely forward off of balance and falling on my face. He taught me how to hit a volley on balance. And so the one thing not the one thing, but the one thing with serve volley that he impressed upon me is that is I have to answer the question: is this going to be a volley? Is this going to be a half volley, or is this going to be a
Right.
ball that sits up and I play an approach shot? And I never knew how to answer it. And he always said, well, all depends on what's the best balanced posture you can be in when you receive that next shot. If it's a volley, if you can volley it and be perfectly balanced and have great posture, so be it. Volley it. If that means the ball's it's going to bounce a little bit too far in front of you, it then becomes a half volley because that's where you've got balance and posture, and that's where
Right.
technique works. Or if you can't get to it, it's going to sit up just like the one that you described. Then put the brakes on and let it get up there, top of the bounce, great geometry, and play an approach shot from there where you're
Yeah.
on balance. So I
I
think
think,
that
let me
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, finish up. Go ahead.
So I think the other thing too is that, when we talk about that, you're already making the transition. And so it becomes literally an approach shot. And so, I try to let my students know that, definition of an approach shot is very basic. It's transition between the baseline and the net. It's not a specific stroke, because you're going to have to use your whole toolbox in that transition given the situation. But I always remind my students, listen, if the ball gets up and you get to hit it at waist high, use your forehand, use your backhand, use your ground stroke, like full on tilt boogie, take your cut and do some damage. Don't go for the line, hit it up the center, but go big. But
Right.
use your ground stroke. That's the stroke that's appropriate. Don't assume that because you're hitting an approach, I need to hit a little feathery slice, or I need to do something other than what I can do. Okay, what in my toolbox is going to do the most damage with this situation? And so I think a lot of players, when they come in on the approach, sometimes too, lose sight of the fact that if the ball's sitting up and it's just screaming at you to hit it, take your cut.
Yeah.
Bring your forehand to the party and take your cut. Swing the bat.
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. All right, guys. Well, listen, I hope you got something out of today's episode. And we'd love to read and respond to any comments or any questions you've got about this specific topic or anything else in your game. And, right below, if you're over at YouTube, let us know, man. Let us know what's going on. If you're listening on the iTunes or the Stitcher platforms, we would love to have you rate and review. Helps us reach more tennis players, obviously, with the search terms. Those audio platforms will deliver the Gold Ball Hunters. Well, I shouldn't, because everyone's going to start going goldballhunter.com. Goldballhunting.com.
Yeah.
So, Jeffrey, what do we want to find folks to do right now?
We'd love to have them like us, share us. Please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below.
Outstanding. Get out there today. I'm in Northern California. Beautiful day here. Get out there today, and I'm going to take a bike ride. I'm going up in the canyon. I'm taking a mountain bike ride for about 90 minutes. It's going to be a gusher.
Nice.
It's going to be a gusher out there today. Anyway, guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeffrey, let's do this again tomorrow.
I can't wait.
Okay.